All right, we'll stop right here. This is for all the men that you don't know what your next step should be, meaning in life. You don't have a baby and you 17 or whatever and you don't know what to do. You just got out the penitentiary and you ain't really working jobs, but you got to do what you got to do, but you feel a certain kind of way about it and you want some clear understanding on it. And then on top of that, my experiences was all like just straight up me.
Say my name slow like an ancient poem. I'm your night, you sin your own. You rule my heart from a velvet throne.
I've done things that it took other groups of people to do. I do it by myself. I did it by myself. So, I'm the only child. So you really getting the real me right now in this video. That's why I use my real name, because I figured that one day I'm gonna be dead and gone, but these videos gonna still be here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all what I learned throughout life in my X amount of years, whatever that is, and just give it to you blood raw. This might be an old 20-minute video, but I ain't gonna have all the cutting and all that stuff, because I'm talking straight up with y'all. I might have an intro or something, but this is to give y'all a little bit of something about me. All right. I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and to give you a little bit about my background, I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and my childhood was, as far as from birth to about 15, I moved around a lot. My daddy used to beat my mama when he get drunk and stuff. He was in the Vietnam, and whatever happened over there and made it way when he came over here, he took it out on my mama when he got drunk. And he would hit her with his fists and stuff. I would try to stop him, but at the time I was a kid and couldn't really do nothing. But I grab him, and when I grab him, he would stop hitting her, so he wouldn't really knock me out of nothing. But when, before I got there, sometimes she took a beating. And what I did was, my bad. I'm sorry, I was getting off track just that fast. You gotta watch me. But and I moved around a lot, and as I moved around a lot, I met different people as far as my age, grown-ups and all kind of type. But keep in mind, I ain't never had a brother or a sister. I'm the only child the whole ride. So I stayed on all sides of Jacksonville, north side, east side, west side, south side. And I can name all the specifics, but pretty much all the hoods. My mama, she worked for the city, but she lived in low income housing because she didn't want to stretch her paycheck out. And I understand that now, but just knowing what I know now about boys growing up in the hood, girls growing up in the hood, I would have rather her stretched her check out and move where it was more, I would have stood more chance of getting a better upbringing. Because we moved on a certain side of town where it was popping, I ended up getting felonies and going to prison. But I'll talk about that later. And so from birth to about 15, I moved. Well, I'm gonna say it like this: that from birth to 9 years old, I was moving around a lot. I can remember a lot of it. And then around 9 years old, my mama moved to the east side. And when she moved to the east side, that's where she messed up. I can see that now. But when I was a kid, I just wanted to be over there with my family. and my best friend, he stayed in the apartment. My mama and his mama was best friends. So me and him was best friends. He was like a few years younger than me, and I was like a big brother to him. But we hung out a lot because our mamas, he was the only child and I was the only child. And our mamas hung out all the time. They went to the same, they were Jehovah's Witnesses, and they went to the same Kingdom Hall. So, anyway, I end up living on the east side from 9 years old to 21. During those years right there, I seen a person get killed. I seen a person get hit in the face with a bat and what it looked like years later after they done been hit in the face with a bat. I done seen a person that he was so cool and so fly and so raw. He can get all the women, and guys hated on him so bad, they put something in his drink, his mind went crazy, and from that point on, he was still the good-looking guy, but he was weird. And, and we, people knew. I didn't know who did it or nothing, but the story and the rumor has always pointed at the same direction. But I lived in that part of the city at that time. It was where anything goes unless you got somebody to back you up. You get robbed, you get shot, all that. If you got people backing you up and your name ringing, then that's when, you're a big man over there. We're gonna hear your name a lot, you know what I'm saying? But during that time, I was going to school, but because I was the only child, I would get into fights on my first or second day of school, or my first week or second week or whatever. I would get in fights in my first or second week of school, and then I get suspended. Or if it was on the school bus, I get suspended on the school bus. But either way it go, I end up getting suspended in ways where I couldn't ride school buses. I remember riding school buses, but not a lot because I got kicked off. And it was always a fight. Always because, somebody was picking on me. I would let them pick on me. I won't say nothing because I knew I could rank. We call it ranking when you're talking about somebody and getting the best of them, whatever, or you talking about them in a negative way, but it's comical and making other people laugh. We call that ranking. And I could rank, but I knew if I ranked on them and get the best of them in front of all the people they trying to impress, I knew they was going to want to fight. I wasn't worried about them beating me in no fight. Matter of fact, I just didn't, because I was a bigger kid, so I never really worried about people whooping me because I was always too heavy for everybody. But I knew it would lead to that, and they would have to save face in front of their friend, or in front of the friends, and come do something to me, which was gonna make me bust them upside the head and be all sitting in his chest, hitting him on his face and stuff. And then his family or brothers or cousins, somebody gonna get mad about what I done to him, say I was too big to be doing that to him, and then they gonna come looking for me, which usually came to the school. And when they came to school and I was suspended off the school bus, boom, you got me right there in the streets. So I would fight one-on-one, but when they was bigger and older than me, I lost them because they were their big brothers and cousins and stuff. Or when they jumped me, I lost them. But one-on-one straight up, though, I ain't never really lost. I don't even recall nobody whooping me one-on-one. But I ain't saying I can't be beat. I'm just saying in my young years, when I was fighting and had to fight, it's going to take more than one of y'all. So, well, but I ain't trying to talk bad or nothing, because that was the old me. But, and so from that point on, I get in the fight. When I fight the brother, and they do stuff to me, and I don't know how to go get my little cousins and stuff. But my cousins, they was there sometime, but I couldn't get them all the time because they was in the shit on their side of town. And I ain't mean to say the other word too, because I want to get AdSense and all that. But So I was always really alone. And I went through a lot of things. I ended up getting kicked out of school, out the county. Had to come back and get my high school diploma through the community college. They say GED, but I was going through a program where we still end up getting high school diplomas, and you could graduate with your school that you were supposed to graduate. It just, out of all the people on that stage graduating at that school, you graduated through another program or whatever. And so mine don't say GED, mine say high school diploma. So, but I consider it a GED because I didn't go to regular school to get it. But anyway, and when they kicked me out of school, so I started getting in trouble. All on that same side of town. Remember, from 9 years old to about 21, I was living on the east side. And I ended up catching a felony. And I shot a dude in the back of the neck in 1990, I think it was 94, in the apartments. I did it broad daylight, so they kicked me out. My mama out the apartments. I was a good kid and everybody loved me, all the old people and everything, but with me shooting the boy, and he was a man though, he wasn't no boy. He was like 15, 16 years older than us, with me. And so, and it was daytime, so they were saying because I did that and it was kids out, stuff like that, then, you know, I couldn't stay out there or whatever. And that started my journey to the guy I am now, because after that, I got robbed. Called myself selling drugs. I got robbed. But when they robbed me, I gave up everything, but I remember thinking, when they robbed me, I better not ever find out who you is. That's what I kept thinking while they was going through my pockets and stuff. And that's a crazy way of thinking. It made me do a couple of home invasions too. But when they robbed me, I was scared, but I remember kept thinking like revenge, like, so after that, it was a different me. Like, I was Jameson in front of everybody at school or whatever. But if I had to go to that other side of me, I was giving you the business. And I end up going to jail for that shooting. I was on the run for 7 months first, and then they caught me. And you know, state work for state, right? So I called myself tired of running. I had forgot really that they were looking for me, because it wasn't bad enough for them to come everywhere I go at to get me. It was just like, when we catch them, we gonna get them for the old and the new. But but I never stayed in one spot, so they never could really catch me like that. But I mess around and decide to go to college, a state college. State work for state. So as soon as I put the address in there where I was living at, man, I wasn't in college a good hot 2 weeks. Yeah, I think I was in there for 2 weeks, man. You know, when after school started, because when you sign up for school ain't started, so they couldn't get me. But when I was in class and stuff, and for about 2 weeks, when I got out of school, they came and got me. And it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing that I almost didn't go back to college. But then even when I went back, it was kind of too late. I had done been to prison and stuff by that time. So I was just like, I'd rather do vocation, and that's how I ended up being a barber.
Big Dr. Barber, the Clipper King. Every snip's got the crowd to sing. Line up clean, let the magic bring. Crowning glory. second to none. For the imagination, let's create new dishes that make us celebrate. From catching dreams we innovate, every flavor our magic game.
But anyway, back to where I was at. When that happened in '94, and then my mama had to move in. That's when I was like 21, and I did 3.5 months or 5 months, I think around 5 months, in the county about that case. And I wasn't no thug street nigga like that, where I knew you just go in and out of jail. I knew niggas that, everybody talk about jail. I didn't know, so the whole time I was in there, all they had was the hood people or the apartment people saying there was a shooting in the apartments. We ain't had no cameras or nothing, so people were saying, they talked about me, they had to send investigators and detectives out there, and they knew it was me, but they didn't have the victim. And so I was in the county for 5 months, where I was in there at 3 months at that time, and I just got tired of being there. And when they came with another plea deal, I jumped on it. I had been there 90 days, and they came with a plea deal just to get me to catch a felony. They came with like 145 days. So I knew if I take them 145 days, I'm going to do about a month. I'm going to do about a half a month in P-Farm, and I get out, Scott, everything clean, no probation, no nothing. And so I end up doing that, copping out to the charge. And what it was they broke the charge down from attempted murder to aggravated, I think I copped out the aggravated battery or assault. I think it's assault. Because that's when, no, it might be battery. Because when you touch somebody, it's battery. When you can assault, you can insult them and be scaring them up, and that's an assault. So I guess I think it was battery. I'm gonna go check that out go look that up one of these days, see, because I don't know. It was so long ago, but and in that process, I mean, I went through that. I got out, but in that process, I gave myself that felony. My first felony, I gave it to myself because they was going to have to eventually charge me with something or let me go. And I didn't know that. I was ready to go. I hadn't been in jail before. And just sitting in there like that, oh man, I don't know, that wasn't my style. But I messed myself up because as soon as I caught that felony, 4 years later, I catch an armed robbery. And that's when I went to prison. But up until before that, I did in '94, that's when I was messed up, done what I done or whatever. And I went to, after that, I got out and I was working little jobs and stuff, but I went back to the streets. And it all led up to me going to prison. And one day I'm going to tell y'all about that, how I went to prison, because it was people knew about my case. They wasn't supposed to know about my case, but the information they gave me helped me make a decision that saved me from doing more years and stuff like that. But I did stuff and led up to where I went to prison. And when I went to prison, that's when I had my great big enlightenment. Like I told you, I ain't got no brothers, no sisters, or nothing. So when I went to prison, that's when I had my aha. I talked to God crying and stuff, because I got on my knees and prayed, and I was crying because I was in the box. Now, I don't know if y'all know what the box is, but in prison, you got a jail for when you in prison. So if you in prison and you acting up and they got to take you away from the other inmates, they put you in what we call the box. And the box is just a one-man cell with nothing but a toilet and your mattress in there and your little blanket if they ain't mad at you. And that's it. You're going to be in there for whatever amount of days the little hearing court judge or whatever that was, disciplinary people, whatever, give you. And it'll be like 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, a month. Well, I did 8 months in the box, day to day. But during them 8 months, I slept in the cell next to me, which I couldn't see him, but we could talk. We talked all the time. I only seen him when he went to the shower. We want to go to the shower twice a week. But the guy next to me was trained to go behind enemy lines by himself or whatever he did. I don't know if it was directly by himself, but I'm just saying he was trained to go behind enemy lines, and he was in jail because of the state stuff he did. He still had other time to do after he do almost a life sentence for the state. And but he had taught me some. He had some good information to help me understand life a little better. But what I'm telling y'all is when I had my aha moment is when I was in the box, them 8 months. The first month I was going through it. First couple days going through it, and so I just got on my knees. I was about the first week, maybe about 6 days. I got on my knees and I prayed. But when I was praying, I was crying, like not boo-hooing, but tears were coming out my eyes because this was just all really overwhelming for me. Like I wasn't gonna show it to nobody else, but I really had dug a hole for myself, and ain't nobody gonna, if I died in here or not, and my mama, she gonna believe whatever they wrote, send her a letter saying or whatever, because she not the type to fight the system. So I knew, like, this is it. I got to take care of all this. And I was going to go down fighting. I just had it in my mind, they ain't going to break me. So I got on my knees and I was praying. And in my prayer, I said to God, I ain't going to believe what anybody tell me. I remember these words because these were specifically what I said. I can't remember the whole prayer, but I can remember when I first opened up and said, my Heavenly Father, whatever the words after you, my first opening words, I said, I ain't going to believe what anybody tell me. Please give me my peace. I need to know what I'm here for, what I'm trying to do, or what I need to do, or whatever, because I'm making all the wrong decisions. I knew I was making all the wrong decisions because everything I did, I was trying to be the man, or I'm trying to get revenge or whatever. It was just I was always into something. So I was like, and that was basically the premise of the prayer. Like I was talking about that most of the time, trying to just let them know I need peace. I had let some things go, and I wanted to see my mama. I didn't want my mama to die before she wasn't in no state of dying, but I was her only child. She lost her brother I would have had. He would have been older than me. She lost that kid, so of course she latched on to me. And when I first went to prison, her hair was kind of black. It was like black. But after a while, I started noticing her hair was gray. And she was getting older, but it was getting gray fast. So I knew she was worrying about me. So I was just wanting, when my prayer, I let God know I want to see my mama on the other side of the fence. Me and her can, so she don't have to see me like that. And I pass away in here, or she passed away out there. And the last thing, we didn't even get to see each other because, I was incarcerated. And Immediately when I came up out that prayer off my knees, I felt something just come off my shoulders and back, and I don't know, I felt light on when it comes to burdens, mental burdens. I felt light. Every question I had that gave me confliction, but I mean, that really messed with me on the inside, every question I had, even about life, I had an answer to. Like, I seen a logical way, okay, like that. And how I knew, and I had been studying Paul. What I forgot to tell y'all too, that during these 8 months I was in the box, after I came up out my prayer, I read the Bible. I started reading the Bible, and me knowing that it had short books in it, I was trying to read the Bible in 30 days, because some books longer than the other ones or whatever. So I was just going, I wasn't going nowhere. So I'm in the box 24 hours. So I said, I'm just going to read as much as I can, go to sleep. When I wake up, I'm going to start reading some more. So I ended up reading the Bible cover to cover like 7 or 8 times. Probably every month, even the first month I was there. Because on the first month I was there, I read probably almost half the Bible that first day when I started reading it. But, and when I came up out of it, I felt the burden left me or whatever. I ended up getting out and going to the, back onto the compound with the regular inmates. And I seen a fight. And when I saw the fight, immediately as I looked at the fight, I seen 2 kids fighting over a toy. Now, the reason I'm telling you about this was wise to me, or this was enlightenment, and I knew it came from me praying to God, was because I had, out of all the Bible books and stuff, and Jesus and all, I hate to admit it, but not over Jesus, but I was impressed with King Solomon. Very impressed with King Solomon. And I kind of like tried to walk by the way he walked before he messed up with God. And so when I seen it, immediately I seen 2 guys fighting over a soda, because we were standing in a hot line. And the guy, I immediately knew that guy was wrong for swinging on him, because he couldn't buy him a soda, or he wouldn't buy him a soda. He had the right to say no. And that logic was simple, but then everything started coming to me simple like that. And after a while, I started realizing while I'm in the joint, I'm like, damn, I'm around a bunch of grown kids. Like, they old in age, but their mind state is elementary, teenage. And I started seeing it for what it is now, and I was like, oh. And then I started studying Black history, American history, and I didn't do, I can't say I kept doing it after I got out and stuff like that, so I'm a very fluent in or whatever, but I got the information I needed to understand my purpose in life and man's purpose in life. And when I did after I seen that I really had some kind of lid lift off my eyes or something, and I could see the world for what it was, I was happy. I'm talking about, I did the rest of my time. I had like 3 years after that, probably 3 or 4 years ago after that, and I did them model inmate. I mean, I still did my thing, like certain stuff, but I wasn't into evil stuff. Like, I wasn't deliberately doing this or stealing or nothing, because that's what I was doing at first. But I didn't do none of that stuff, and I got me a paying job on the compound, ended up being the foreman of my department, stuff like that, and I ended up getting out. And when I got out, I was out maybe a year, and then I got married. And I was married for like 10, 11 years. And in that process, I didn't go back to prison. I think I went to jail for 14 days because the driver was suspended license. And but other than that, I didn't. That was like a little while right after I had got out. So and that was 2005. So I got out in 2005. So that had to be like 2007, 2008, something like that. But and I when I got out and started working, got me a job. I had a job set up for me before I got out and everything. Like I said, I became a little model inmate. I made a little boy cry in the Scared Straight program. They wanted me to come speak, and I went and spoke. And while everybody was talking about, man, give me your shoes. Nigga, if you was in here with me, such. What I was doing was, I went, when it was my time to speak, I just told them the truth. I said, man, my biggest issue with being in here is that you don't get to go home. You don't get to, you watch your family members leave. You can't go with them. You can't go and just walk into the bathroom go in the refrigerator and get you something to eat in the middle of the night or nothing. Like, these people show you that you belong to them. And I made a little boy cry. When I seen the tears, I knew, that's when I learned I had a effect with people when talking to. But, I did that a couple times. I went to the church a couple times, but I didn't feel too comfortable with that because most of them guys they only became church members when they got locked up. But all of us really pretty much had family members that went to church avidly and everything. So, with that being said, I don't have nobody to talk to. So all this information, I have to get it, develop it, and come up with whatever in my mind on my own. But I'm a pretty logical guy. And I can really help some young guys out, or older guys, if you don't really know what your purpose is. So now we're going to get into what your purpose is. Now, you know a little bit of something about me. And I'm going through something right now. See, this is my little studio. I'm living in my little studio or whatever. And it's them black towels. And I guess in a few months I'll get me an apartment. But right now, this is what I can afford. And it's a difference. I mean, I fell off. I done it. It's my fault. I'll talk about that one day, but I ain't ready to talk about that today. But I did. I messed myself up. That's why I ain't mad at nobody. And that's another reason why I'm making these videos, because I want people to understand. I want the men to understand that, first of all, nobody ain't making you do nothing. So you a man. You the highest form of life. The woman ain't even higher than you. The animals ain't higher than you. Your kids, so you got to take blame and accountability for everything that happens on your watch that you could have prevented or you could have helped. So I just I came up with it, and I made these videos, and I used all my life experiences and the education and information that I've gotten throughout the years, and I'm giving it back to y'all. Now, since I have been on here 34 minutes, so the first thing I'm gonna talk about, and I'm gonna give it, cause I don't want to make a real long video on my first little introductory, but it's pretty long already. But I had to give y'all an understanding of who I am. But the first thing I want y'all to see how I'm gonna have this set up. I'm gonna always keep y'all within a certain frame of a man, which is we'll be talking about birth to 15. 15 to 30, 30 to 50, 45 to 50, and then 50 on up, which is wise man, old man. You live that long, you know some things. I'm 53, so I don't hit that 50 plus, so a lot of guys ain't make it. A lot of my friends ain't make it to 30. So I'm at 53. So now I enjoy life. Even though I ain't got, and I'm struggling and trying to get on my feet, there's nothing worse than when they took my freedom from me and I had to live around men for 6 years, 10 months, and some days, 23 days or something, down there 7 years, day for day. And I realized you getting took care of every day. I'd rather be out here struggling with bills than to be in there because I tried something slick or tried to get over and not be a man and man up and get what I was trying to get. See, I feel like now what I was doing, robbing and all that kind of stuff, that's not manly. That's just showing how dumb I am and how I can't work. I don't have the brain power and the skill to think of a way to get my own money and earn it where that you die for. You die for your money you earn, but you don't go and try to take nobody else's money or risk your life to take somebody else's money. But that's what I was on. So I'm on some other stuff and I appreciate the 53. I've got a lot of aches and pains and bad knees and all that kind of stuff, but I look at the news every day and the internet and no, I'm all right. It could be worse than this. So anyway, I'm gonna hit y'all like that, and because I want the men and when I'm hitting you with that, I'm gonna tell you we're gonna focus a lot between birth and 15 because that is the most important years of a boy's life. Most important. Not when he grown and he make all these decisions. No, it's developing that mindset, that mind to not be a criminal, that mind to want to have things, that mind to be willing to sacrifice, that mind to be patient. Like, you got to develop that in him. Remember, when a baby's inside a womb, I know they say the mama got connections with it and all that stuff, yeah. Okay, and they got his connection, but he don't know nothing. He do not know nothing. I get angry when people be treating their babies like kings and queens, and no, that's a bonus because of you and him fucking. God damn it, I said I wasn't gonna cut no more. Okay, well, we gonna have to, I guess this video gonna have to be restricted or whatever. But
I told you I'm never going back.
Give me a minute. I'm good. I've got an hour. I'm great. You give me 6 months. I'm unbeatable.
Find a way to fame with a loyal crowd to claim. Lava magic in the air, spreading influence everywhere. Watch your numbers grow anew. Followers just for you.
That's ugly. Could have done.
You should have done.